More breaking updates now from South Korea. Kim Yong-Hyun, the ex-defense minister of South Korea, who had resigned after the brief dramatic imposition of martial law in the country earlier this week, has been arrested over his role in the declaration of the same, which had led to the parliament being surrounded by troops and brought the army to Seoul streets. Yoon had earlier reversed the decision of a martial law following a strong rebuke from the National Assembly and widespread protest. Next day, South Korea's president accepted the resignation of his defense minister as opposition parties moved to impeach both men over the short-lived imposition of the martial law. In a latest development now, the local media has reported that former defense minister Kim Yong-hyun was being arrested over his role in the martial law declaration. Brian, my colleague, joins me live on the broadcast. Brian, in the latest development that we are tracking very closely, the former defense minister of South Korea has been arrested over his involvement and the decision that he has taken being controversial in the imposition of the martial law. What is in fact the latest that you are bringing to us in this regard? What have the developments after this arrest have looked like?
Well, Simran, very importantly, South Korean President Yong-Hyun declared martial law. That happened on Wednesday, and this is for the perspective for the viewers. And it accused the opposition of undermining the country's democracy and national stability. And this, rather marks the first imposition of martial law in South Korea in over 4 decades. Now, this sudden decree also caused alarm both within the country and internationally, as there were troops also that were deployed to surround parliament and push the army to the streets of Seoul. However, yes, within hours, Yoon reversed the decision after strong criticism from the National Assembly and widespread protests also, with martial law lasting only 6 hours before being lifted at around 4:30 a.m. their local time. And following this as well, Yoon accepted the resignation of the defense minister Kim Yong-hyun, whose role in the martial law declaration led to his arrest. Kim is now facing a travel ban also, as now prosecutors also continue the investigation. And additionally, South Korea's defense ministry has also suspended 3 senior commanders that were involved in the operation. And there was an aftermath as well, where the opposition parties moved to impeach President Yoon over the brief martial law, but the motion failed. That happened yesterday. And most lawmakers from Yoon's conservative governing party also boycotted the vote, preventing the motion from reaching the necessary 2/3 of the majority in the National Assembly that was required. And this setback also is expected to intensify public protests calling for Yoon's resignation, with polls now showing that a majority of South Koreans support his impeachment. The political crisis, Simran, definitely continues to unfold, as this very opposition parties are also expected to submit a new impeachment motion when the National Assembly reconvenes. That will happen next week, raising concerns also that Yoon's leadership may be increasingly vulnerable over the final years of his presidency. Simran.
All right, Brian. In fact, at this point of time, the martial law crisis has created South Korea's most severe political upheaval in the decades that have been witnessed, endangering the democratic credentials of the significant U.S. military ally and the Asia's 4th largest economy. Thank you for giving us these important updates and, in fact, the latest that you are tracking. Now moving on, Ukrainian President Zelensky has met U.S. President-elect Donald Trump and